evening, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV, and this is a Bournemouth versus Newcastle United match preview. Tonight I'm joined by Roly, but I will be joined by Craig, who is running a little late, so he will be here very soon indeed. Okay. You okay then, Roly?
Yeah, positively Champions League. And I've been after Tuesday, I've been drowning my sorrows by watching all the salty Arsenal fans moan about the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Ben Jacobs has just reported that the 5-man independent panel that reviews sort of contentious incidents, they ruled that our goal was perfectly valid, that it wasn't a foul on Gabriel, that it was unanimous that Havertz should have been given a straight red, and 3-2 that Bruno should have got one. So pretty much everything that we said about that game and the major flashpoints, they agreed with us.
Yep. Lovely. Right. So we know they're happy with that. Anyway, if you do like what you see, please do smash that like. It does help the channel. So if you wouldn't mind just giving it a thumbs up, that would be absolutely fantastic. And also means new viewers can find the channel easily. Also, if you're brand new to this channel, come and join this great community by smashing that subscribe, which is free to do so. And that bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record or any upcoming shows. If you want to become a member, it's 99p. You can do that by clicking the join button. And if you want to make a donation, you can do that also by clicking on the $sign, using the super thanks, super stick, super chat. If you do chat, obviously, if you do do your chat that way, you do get read out first as well. And also, all money goes back into the channel as well. Right, okay. Let's get into some comments first of all. Bit of a dry throat for some reason. Holly says, "Hi Tony Roly, my score prediction is either 2-0 to Newcastle or 3-1. Yeah, we'll get into that, Holly, but yeah, that's not bad at all. Good evening all, says BT. Good evening to you, mate. Hope you're well. He says, Newcastle completely UEFA about how few tickets have been allocated for the PSG game. UCL rules say that away fans should get at least 5% of the stadium capacity at 48,000, which is 2,429. Well, yes, you're absolutely spot on with that, because I don't know that, but do we read into it that there is a bit of needle between their owner and our owners? Because it was well documented that Al Khalifi, who owns PSG, who also owns Behind Sports, was the man behind sending letters out to 19 Premier League clubs asking them to lobby and stop our takeover going through, which I don't think he realises that collective lobbying is illegal in this country, in the UK. He probably doesn't know that because he's not from the UK. So this man just seems to have a problem with us anyway, and he's probably pissed off when we beat them 4-1 as well at St James's Park, because we won the Middle East Derby that day. But yeah, I mean, look, I can see what you're saying, and let's hope UEFA step in and sort this out if they've got the balls to do so. And he says also, what do you make of the emergency vote taking place this month, banning any Premier League club from bringing any loan signings in? Other clubs and their owners might have been interested. Do you know what it is, BT? I'm just going to start that. I will come back to your comment, no, mate, okay? I will come back to that. Just bear with. Evening, Pete, Tony, Roly and gang, says, evening, Pete Roly. You mean evening, Tony, Roly and gang? Mighty Mac, yeah, evening, mate. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Julie. Hope you're well. They get them from somewhere. Evening, Tony, Uncle Roly and Craig, says Bia. Good evening, Bia. Craig's not quite here yet, but he will be here soon. Everybody's seeing each other. Great, Gaz. Paul Stone says, evening. First time I've caught a stream for the staff for a while. Hey, Well done, Paul. Well done, mate. Sorry I put this out at such a late stage, but yeah, we did get it out there. Toon Fan says, how many signatures do you think we will get in the winter transfer window? Do you know what? Again, that's a good question. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to star yours, mate, as well. And we'll come back to your question. Absolutely. Gaza looks like it's going to happen. Yeah, there's talks about that, isn't there, as well? So, we will talk about things like that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ian Fleming. Hope you're well. Mad Max says, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Yeah, absolutely fine. Thank you. It's nearly the weekend. Gary says, hi, Tony and Roly, and the missing Craig. Yeah, he's not quite here at the moment. He will be here as soon as he possibly can, but let's hope so. I read Tony Roly in the chat. Yeah, Roly's on the panel. Ian says, see, Klopp's not pleased. VAR ruled out the equaliser. Well, he never is he? Julie says, at least Klopp didn't behave like a Karen like Arteta does. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we know the way Arteta has behaved himself. I mean, it was, absolutely disgusting behaving himself in that way. And at the end of the day, he will get his karma. Don't you worry about that. And just if you missed the, obviously this is how Arteta carries on. There we go. Look, there we go. There's Arteta for you, holding his teddy bear, telling his mummy that Newcastle got a goal that he doesn't think was a goal. What a shame. People talking to each other there. Julie says he'll more than whinge, take the piss, but nowhere near as bad as Arteta. Absolutely. Arteta's caused a huge debate over the goal. Just proves he's just a big mass debater. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They can say this vote isn't against us. All they want. They may slow our progress, but suck it up. Nobody will stop us. Do you know what? You're absolutely spot on. Arteta, the bedwet access, Mad Mag. I suppose a lot of people like that picture. I mean, do you like that picture, Roly? It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good one, that one. Ronald says, I call him Wet Farteta because he's full of wind and shit. Do you know what? You're probably spot on there, Ronald. You're probably spot on there. Right, okay, I'm just... Oh, Paul says, I can see the other Saudi clubs who ain't owned by PIF start to go out and buy big players, just take the piss, people off, and then those clubs can help us out down the lane. Yeah, absolutely. Julie says, Simon Jordan says it isn't against us, the vote. All right, okay.
Well,
okay, right.
True.
Yeah, right. Okay, so as I promised, I'll come back to these starred comments. So BT said, what do you make of the emergency way vote to take place this month, banning any Premier League club from bringing any loan signings from other clubs their owners might have an interest in? Right, okay then, BT. So, when I saw this yesterday, I automatically thought, here we go again. Here's another dig at Newcastle United. Look, Simon Jordan can say it's not against us, but come on. It's been touted for a few weeks now that we're looking at possibly bringing in Ruben Neves in January on loan from Al Hilal, who our owners have an ownership interest in. Now, the thing is, right, look at clubs down the lane. And I'm not singling clubs out yet, but obviously we know the Man City thing. They got Lampard from New York City, who Man City own. That's nothing. That's by the by. That doesn't matter. Right? But then you've got Watford, who have been in the Premier League a couple of times, and their owners, the Pozzo family, own Udinese in Serie A. Now then, How many players have we seen go to Watford from Udinese? Quite a few. So, you know, and they've done that all around. Look at Chelsea. They've bought Brazilians and young players and sent them on loan to Strasbourg. Should that be allowed? You know, because Todd Bowley owns a bit of Strasbourg, so should he do that? So you know, it's a bit contradicted, really, because the way I look at this is, why is it all of a sudden that our attention is turned to Neves, and all of a sudden this vote's being put through, but Simon Jordan says not against us? Well, I beg to differ, because if it wasn't against us, then this, you know, they should come out and say it's, you know, but they're not going to say that, are they? They're not going to say it's for everybody. But 14 clubs have got to vote for this, first of all. Now, they might, if they only get 13 clubs that vote for it, then it doesn't pass. Now, they're saying it's only a temporary block. It's not a permanent thing. It's only a temporary. But the way I see it is, it's another dig at us, because, look, as soon as our owners come in, as soon as Amanda Staveley said, I want them Sports Direct banners removed because she says, I'm sick, I can't have a photo anywhere without a Sports Direct banner in the background. And she was right. And as soon as them banners started getting taken down, the likes of Leicester City went straight to the Premier League. Oh, no, they can't have sponsorship. You gotta make it, you've got to clamp down on how much money you can get in through sponsorship. Now, Leicester City are a joke, because how can they say about sponsorship rules when their stadium, King Power, is named after their owner's company? They've got King Power on their shirts, which is their owner's company. You know, Thailand Smells With You is part of the ownership, because, you know, the Thai government. So how, you know, at the end of the day, how can Leicester dictate what we do when they're clearly doing it ourselves and probably getting a shitload of money for it? So, you know, when the Fat Controller had our club, and he was plastering the whole stadium with these Sports Direct signs, and then on the digital boards you had these other shops coming up like flannels and all that coming up on there. Nobody said nothing. Nobody said a word. Nobody said boo to a goose. You know, just because he was paying us 10 pence a week to advertise his shite all over the stadium. All these rejects. Look, at the end of the day, it's about time they stopped all this messing about. And at the end of the day, they're frightened of us. That is the problem. They are frightened of us. But what's to say we don't want Neves? What's to say this was just a plan to put it out there to see what the Premier League would do? But the other thing I look at this is this legal if you do a restriction in trade? Because are you not breaking the law? It's like, say, for instance, say Audi have a limited edition car, and somebody goes to the showroom, I want to buy that Audi, whatever it is. Say it might be an A4 and it might be a limited edition, might only be so many made, you know, and man might go there and say, oh, I want that car. I want what it all costs. Where can you get me one? And they look on the computer, we ain't gone in the UK. Oh, hang on. We've actually got one just come on the factory floor in Germany. Would you like that car? Because we can get that to you. Oh, yeah, I'll have that, please. Yeah. It's left-hand drive, but we can get you that car. No, that's fine. You go and get me that car, right? Then are you then going to have BMW, Volkswagen, kicking up a stink saying, whoa, hang on a minute. You know, they've got none left, but they've got one over there, and they're going to get it from their factory in Germany and bring it back to the UK. That's not fair. What about us? How can we do that? You know, and then it's like them kicking up and then saying, right, okay, Audi, you can't do that. Do you think that would happen? Not a chance. So And I know it's nothing like Cars, a football club, but at the end of the day, are you allowed to actually restrict the trade of anybody legally? I mean, I guess they've probably gone down the legal route and checked all this out. Well, I hope they have. But I'm sure our owners will be going down the legal route to see if this is actually legal. Because, if you all go back to Bosman on free transfers, they never happened until he went to the court and said, hang on a minute. I want to come out. I want to leave on my contract. My contract's up. I don't want to be sold. I want to leave on a free. And he got the Bosman ruling through. And that's how we know him as the Bosman rule. He's a very famous footballer now, and he's more famous after he's finished playing football than when he was playing football.
He was only, I think he was a second.
But he fought. He fought for that right. He fought for that right, and he got it. And that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, are the Premier League right or wrong to do this? I think they're wrong. I really do. And I think, does this not bring the integrity of our game into doubt? Because at the end of the day, it makes us look stupid around the world when they're going, hang on a minute, they're restricting Newcastle from buying from another owner or off their own team. So that means if they do this, that means then, if say for instance, one of the PIF-owned clubs in Saudi said, oh, hang on, we'll take young Lewis Miley on loan, say, for the season. Oh, can't do that now because we're not allowed to. Now then what you're doing is Lewis Miley cannot go to Saudi Arabia and develop as a player because the Premier League have said you're not allowed to do that because these clubs have voted against it or voted for it. So, it's at the end of the day, it's a grey area. It's a very grey area. But before I ask Roly for his opinion on this, I am going to go into just some comments because the comments are flying in, and I'm just interested to see what other people have, what they make of what I've said as well, because I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. Right, let's go to the comments. So Paul's comment. The loans is sponsorship part 2, says Paul. Yeah, absolutely. BS says Chelsea use Strasbourg as a development feeder club. Yeah, absolutely. Would Chelsea have got all those players who are on loan back with the rule change? No, because they're already on loan, so they wouldn't have to get them back, but they wouldn't be able to do any future dealings. BS says the key word is temporary. Other clubs know our FFP position, so just really shaft us in the window. Yeah, that's said and well, but at the end of the day, we can go out and get another player on loan maybe somewhere. We could go somewhere and say, look, we want to take such and such, but can we have him on a loan to a view to a permanent move in the summer? And, that's the other way of getting around the FFP. So, again, they can do what they can throw as much shit. Eventually, yes, okay, you can keep throwing shit at the fan and it will stick, or some of it will stick, but it won't always stick. So let them do whatever they want. Ian says, should not change the rules midway through a season. No, absolutely not, Ian. Absolutely not. I totally agree. Hi, Tony, Roly and all. Coffee. Hi, Coffee. Hope you're well. Paul says, sure, the club came out as if they will use the summer transfer budget because of the injuries. Well, the thing is, next summer, Kitty's going to be bigger because we've got the Adidas money coming in as well. So, that's going to help our FFP massively. And any more sponsorship we can get in. Let them talk about us till their jaws break, says Gary. It just heightens our profile around the world. Free advertising. Absolutely, Gary. You're absolutely spot on with that, mate. Lewis. Hi, Lewis Adams. He says, evening, Tony, Roly and chat. I'm not too worried about this so-called temporary ban. I'm just pissed off that they've had the audacity to actually try this. Exactly, Lewis. Absolutely correct, mate. Ronald says, am I paranoid that only one of the coaching staff can stand on the touchline when we had Howe and Tyndall doing it last season? I mean, look, it's stupid. I think it is. Again, it's just another one to stop us having two people on the touchline. That's what it is. But in Europe, we can do it. Evening, Lewis. Gary says, temporary loans have happened in the past for clubs with an injury crisis. What's the difference? Absolutely, Gary. No difference whatsoever. Mighty Max says, Tony, we need Nick DeMarco employed full time at the Toon. I'm sure they're in talks. Tony, 16 clubs have to agree the ban. That's not going to happen, and the FA will look stupid. Yeah, well, it does say 14, Gary, so that's why I said 14, but Ian's saying 14 as well. BT says we can sign that we could sign Neves on a free and loan him back to Al Hilal at the end of the season. Yeah. Paul says, to be honest, I didn't think the Premier League had the power to stop clubs loaning players from other clubs in different countries. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he says, I heard 16. Yeah, it's definitely 14. Paul says, I think AC Milan also player. They should loan us a player. Yeah, let's have Rafael Leao, shall we? What's the score with Federico Chiesa? His name's been kicking about. It's been kicking about for quite a long while, Mighty Mag. So, game will get into that. And Julie says, yeah, it's 14 of the 20 clubs. Yeah, absolutely, Julie, because I don't think it... I just hope they only get, like, say, the maximum of 13 signatures approving it. And then they'll have to say, oh, well, we can't push it through now, can we? So, I mean, Roly, give us your quick thoughts on this. What about this banning thing? Do you agree with it, or do you think it's another dig at us?
Well, it's awfully convenient that there's been this temporary ban just before the transfer window opens when we need to get players in and we're tight on FFP. How convenient is that? It's like when they changed the rules on sponsorship just after we've been taken over. Oh, we need to do that now. Not like they haven't had years that they could have done it before. It always seems to be. It always seems that they decide to do something when they're worried of what Newcastle are going to do. It's awfully convenient. Of course, it's nothing to do with us. They just make. If it was nothing to do with us, why didn't they do it at the beginning of the season, before the season started? Or wait till the end of the season rather than change it halfway through? But it's got everything to do with us. They're worried because, first of all, they're worried that we're going to get inflated transfer fees when we sold ASM to Al Hilal. Now they're worried we're loaning a player. It's really they're trying to hold this back, but it just seems every time they try to hold us back, it just seems to accelerate our progress. So, yeah, they will do what they do, but it's not going to stop us. So.
Yeah, it's just they're just trying to hamper our progress, but it'll not work. They won't win. We'll do all we can to, at the end of the day, they will not win. They will not win, Roly. Because if they throw a spanner in the works, we've just got that might be plan A, but we've always got a plan B. Because these owners aren't silly. They know what they're doing. Right. Let's get Paul says, it all came after Dan Ashworth mentioned in his interview the idea that currently nothing stops us from loaning from Saudi clubs. Yeah. That's a thing. I mean, look, yeah, we know what's being said, and but the end of the day, is it actually? I look at this and I think this is illegal if you're restricting trade, because it's not like we're loaning them from there for free. We'd still have to pay a loan fee to Al Hilal. You've still got to pay a loan fee, still got to pay wages.
Yeah.
Yes, Al Hilal might cover so much of his wages, and we'll have to pay the top up on that. But again, I don't know. I just think it stinks the whole lot, and I just hope it gets knocked out. I really do. Right. So the second question that was starred, and it come from Toon Fan, and he says, "How many signatures do you think we'll get in the winter window?" Right. Well, we are currently linked with Chiesa. Now, and this is according to Newcastle World. And what Newcastle World are saying is we've identified Chiesa as a target, and we're preparing an offer in the region of £52 million for Chiesa. Now then, Chiesa, yes, we know he's got an injury record, but we know he's a very good player. He can attack well. We know his strengths. We've talked about him before in previous transfer shows, how good this guy is. But I don't think it's somebody would get in January. I think it might be somebody we go for in the summer. But January, do you know what? I have to say, maybe I'll say at least two. Maybe another midfielder to cover from Tonali being out. Because I look at Tonali not being banned. I just think he's got a long-term injury and he's not going to be back for the season. That's the way you look at it. So I think we'll get a replacement for Tonali. That midfielder will come in on a loan. So that will come as a loan. I think we'll bring another centre back in, because we don't know when Botman will be back. So we don't know when he'll be back. So I think we'll go for a centre back. So if I was going to go for a centre back, I think we'll be going to Palace, and I think we'll be going for Joachim Andersen. As much as we would probably want to go for Mark Way, I think he's going to cost too much. You're probably going to get maybe, you're going to get Joachim Andersen probably £20 million cheaper than you're going to pay for Mark Way. Mark Way is probably worth about 60 million quid. Joachim Andersen's valued around 40 million. Again, could we get him on loan with a view to a permanent move? Whether Palace would do that, I don't know. I don't think they would. They'd probably want the money. But we are linked with a midfielder who could be the potential Tonali replacement. And his name is Twen Koopmeiners. Now, he plays for Atalanta. Koopmeiners does. And look, they reckon he's worth about £48 million. Is this Koopmeiners? Could it be something we say, right, okay, we go in and we get him on loan with a view to a permanent move in the summer? So we could go to Atalanta and say, look, we really like your player. Can we take him on loan and with a view to having him in the summer on a permanent transfer? Now, whether Atlanta would agree with that, I do not know. He's currently playing in the Europa League for Atlanta. I mean, look, that he's 25 years of age. He's left-footed. He can play defensive midfield, midfield centre, and attacking midfield. Playmakings are his strengths. In Serie A, he's started 9 out of 10 games, and he's got 3 goals and 2 assists, which is not a bad return for a midfielder. He's had no cards either this season, so he's not even been booked. Atlanta signed him 2 years ago from AZ Alkmaar for €12 million. And he seems to be quite a good passer of the ball. He's created 2 big chances. His accurate passing per game is 81%. So, he's no mug with the ball. Not only are we looking at him, but also Liverpool are looking at him as well. So, he's obviously highly thought and highly sought after. So, I mean, that's a possibility. Cup miners. So that's one to definitely keep an eye on. So we'll see if anything happens with that maybe in the January window. Now, another player who's still being talked about for us is a young player at the age of 20 years old. He's French. Now, his name is Ryan Cherki. Now, Ryan Cherki plays for Lyon. Lyon are having a terrible season. They are having a stinker. They are bottom of Ligue 1. Bottom. The team where Bruno came from. The team that Paqueta went from to West Ham. Lyon are having a stinker. They are bottom of that league. And it's not looking great for them. Now then, this is a player who I think he's a fantastic talent and he's going to get better and better. And he's only 20. Now, could we go in there in January and say, right, we want to take Cherki on loan? Now, Lyon might not be in the place to say, well, we want to keep him. We don't want him going on loan. We'd rather sell him. But Cherki might say, well, actually, I want to go because, look, this club's struggling. Look where you are. You're bottom of the league. They could get relegated this season. Lyon, if they don't pull their socks up, they will. So that could be another option. We could get him in, in the January window. Who knows? And he can play left wing and also attacking midfield. Playmaking and long balls is his strengths, and he doesn't have any weaknesses. I mean, he started 7 out of 10 games for them this season. He hasn't scored, and he's got 1 assist. But again, remember, he's playing in a team that's playing very, very poor at the moment. So don't take his stats as like, oh God, he's not that great, because his accurate passing per game is actually 82%. And in his own half, it's 95%. Now, if I go to his stats from last season for Ryan Cherki, he started 21 out of 34 games and got 4 goals and 6 assists. And his accurate passing per game was 81% for a full season. So, and also he only had 3 yellow cards all season last season as well. So again, Ryan Cherki is another one who I think, yes, could we get him on loan? Absolutely, why not? But that all depends on how Lyon want to do business. Remember, we've already been in there, nicked a player off Lyon on the cheap in Bruno. But obviously, Bruno know Ryan Cherki as well. And he's probably said to Eddie Howe and probably the rest of them, look, if you can get him, he's a player. And who knows? Who knows? I mean, Roly, what's your thoughts like? Cup Miners, do you know much about him, Roly? Or
No,
is that the first you've heard of him?
First, I think you mentioned him in the summer, but I don't know much about him at all.
Well, I didn't mention him in the summer, no.
Didn't you?
No, not Cup Miners, no.
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah. What about Ryan Cherki?
Yeah, he's still very young, but he's got lots of talent. Whether we can do a deal with Lyon now, saying, well, if you wait till you get relegated, you'll get less money.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we'll probably look to bring in 2 players. I think that it will be both of them will be loans. And I think there'd probably be a midfielder and I think another striker. Loans possibly with an option to buy, depending on the player. I think we want to sort of keep a powder dry for the summer. Once all the Adidas money kicks in, we'll have the Champions League money from this season as well to spend. I think they might wait for the big signings then. Someone like Chiesa, I see that as a summer signing, not the January signing, because January signings are so difficult to do. Because you're very limited in time. So I'd expect maybe 2 loans. It'd be interesting to see who they did if they get us forward. I wouldn't be against them going to PSG and getting Ekiteke on loan. You know, PSG don't want him. You see, you screw your face up because he turned us down, but I think that's more to do with his agent and it's being PSG.
I don't think we'll go back for him, to be honest. I don't think our owners are like that. I think they'll just say, right, you didn't want us first time, don't bother.
Well, I mean, it's been said that there's no ill feeling towards him. I think that's why I said a loan as opposed to a permanent deal.
I mean, look,
this season he's third choice striker as well, so it's a low risk gamble to get someone that's got a reasonable amount of ability that was of interest. Get them as cover, because we know that our strikers do tend to pick up injuries. I know Anthony Gordon can play there, but it'd be nice to have a specialist striker on the books. Parkinson, I think, is too inexperienced. I think someone like that might be, say it'd be a loan to the end of the season. I mean, I look at it in a bit of a way, like when we got Karius last season. Someone is there to make up the numbers, but if needed, can do a job.
I mean,
and you know what Eddie's like with players.
Yeah, you look at Leon this season. They've played 10 games. They've won none. They've drew 4, lost 6. Goal difference minus 11. Right? So they've got 4 points. To get out the relegation, they need another 7 points. That's just a level. So they need, technically, to get out that relegation, they need 8 points to get out that relegation zone. That's nearly 3 wins. They haven't won a game in 10 games. Well, if you look at them stats, they do not look odds on to staying up this season. They look odds on to go down. But unless they pull their act together, and start winning. But at the moment, they're not doing it. And they've got the likes of Lacazette up front. So, but again, funny things have happened.
Being so far behind at this stage of the season, it wasn't that long ago that we were that far behind, and we finished. Was it 12th? But then 11th, again, we did get
different league, Roly, different league.
I know it's a different league, but I'm just saying we got Eddie in, and it's a much harder league we're in. So the fact that we went 14 games without winning and ended up 12 is a major miracle. It's a Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall miracle. It's just one of those things that I know what you're saying, but it's until we did what we did, I would have agreed with you wholeheartedly. But if I don't know if their manager's nearing the sack and they get in a really good manager, they might be able to turn it around. I don't know. But they need to do something soon.
Yeah. I'll go through some comments. Ian says, I'm sure our owners will be speaking to their lawyers. Absolutely, Ian. Absolutely. Paul says, Keys are too injury prone. He was linked in the summer. I just think it's lazy journalism. I mean, we don't know. It's being bandied about a lot now. Look, I did say back in the summer, yes, he does. He did have injury troubles, but a lot of them are like muscle fatigue, things like that. Yes, he had that serious injury, but he's come back from it. Look, he had an ACL. Tino Livramento had an ACL. And people were worried about him coming into the club in the summer, spend out that money. But look at the performances he's been putting in. He's been fantastic. So, just because you've had an ACL doesn't mean to say that, you can be written off. Callum Wilson's had 2 ACLs. So, Bias says, hope we're going back to check Chiesa's betting history. I'm sure we'll be doing that due diligence, don't you worry. We need a striker. Yeah, we do. Because, I mean, look, we are a bit short up front, especially if, Wilson went off the other night with his hamstring being tight. He looks like he's going to be fit, I think, for Saturday. Gary says we're already in talks with Chiesa camp and are 2 steps ahead of everyone else. And January is the date. He's turned down an extension multiple times. There we go. Julie says Premier League will bring a new rule in that Newcastle can't sign Italians. Yeah, probably. What's his name? How do you spell that? Coop Miners. There you go. Coop Miners. Begins with a K, if that's any help. But if you want to know his name, it's KOOPMEINERS. I'll tell you what, I'll stick it in the chat for you, and so you can get a coffee when I've gone through the comments, mate. All in for Tomori, couple of loans from Saudi, sell Dummett for 200 million to Al Hilal. Do you know what, Bia? I would absolutely do that, yeah. Do you know, at Tomori, I would have him, yeah, definitely. He's quality. But he costs a lot of money. Coffee says it was funny seeing a player named Rooney scoring the winner against Man United. Yeah. I was thinking about Tomori too. Yeah, he's one hell of a player. He would fit in. Mikel Merino's on fire. He's a player I'd have back at Newcastle, absolutely. I think the reason he just wanted to go back to Spain, I think it was just because, 1, Rafa was going to go, and 2, he didn't want to be around the team. And who can blame him? Why would you want to be in a club that's so toxic with an owner that's just, hideous? Yeah. And you wouldn't want to play for Steve Bruce either. Chiesa had a long-term injury. He's not injury-prone. Yeah, exactly. Yusufri, yeah, ACL, Ronald. We've been linked with Hassan Diao also. About that, mate, and now everyone's saying he's a liability daft. Well, that's what everybody said about Livramento, and he's been absolutely fantastic. Ronald says, does Chiesa translate as church can get on well with Pope? Why did Chiesa drop out the Italy squad? Was that not because of injury? May well have been, yeah. I see Rangers are winning. Chiesa would be good to raise Tonali spirits. Yeah, absolutely. Rangers are winning only because they're playing a poor team. Altmore has scored. Ian says, try not to think of Scottish clubs in Europe after Celtic's result. Yeah, we'll not talk about the 6-0, will we, Ian? Oops, sorry. I already mentioned it. Ronald says, I was in the Dolphin pub in Victoria, London a couple of years back. 1 wall, 2 walls, 2, 3 walls, 2, 4th wall, Celtic. Oh, no, man. Sai, we'll do Bournemouth evening, lads. Good evening, Sai, on Facebook. Hope you're well, mate. Coop Miners, Gary's put it in there. Oh, I misheard the name. Yeah, I mean, look, yes, this is, after all, the Bournemouth stream as well. So, look, we've had a good talk about all the sorts at the moment. Let's now crack on to looking at our thoughts as the Premier League makes its return on Saturday. It's great to be back in Premier League action. After the Champions League. So there we go. Premier League is back. I mean, that game on Monday was a weird game, wasn't it, between Tottenham and Chelsea? It was absolutely crazy. 4-1 to Chelsea. 5 goals ruled out by VAR. It's absolute madness. I think the reason Chelsea ran it, that score flat at Chelsea, I'm sorry, because Spurs were down to 9 men. And that's a hard ask when you've got 9 men against 11. So I think that sort of flattered Chelsea a bit, the 4-1. It wasn't a 4-1 game. But we head to the Vitality on Saturday. And it's not been a happy hunting ground for us over the years, although we have had a winner there. I think Matt Ritchie put a cross in for the winner that time. But yeah, look, we go to Bournemouth. Last season, we drew 1-1 at St James's Park, thanks to an Alexander Isak penalty. And last season, we went down there and got a draw as well, 1-1 at Bournemouth. After going behind to Senesi's goal. Neto always seems to have a great game against us, although he hasn't been in the sticks recently. Don't know if he's injured again or what. Let's hope he is on Saturday. Look, Bournemouth got absolutely spanked off Man City 6-1. Even though their manager said it was a harsh scoreline. Well, it is a harsh scoreline. But then it depends, if you're going to defend bad, you're going to get punished. Simple as. Look, we'll go to Bournemouth. It is going to be a tricky place to go to. They have only had one win all season, but I certainly don't want them getting one against us on Saturday as well. Roly Bournemouth, another low block team. We struggled last season against Palace. 3 times we couldn't score past Palace. This season, we blitzed them 4-0 at St James's Park. Now then, last season with Bournemouth, 2 draws and that slender 1-0 win in the Carabao Cup, thanks to Adam Smith's own goal. Look, how are you feeling ahead of Saturday's game? Do you feel very confident, or are you thinking, I'm not sure about this game?
I'm quietly confident. It's not going to be as easy as it could be with the injuries and suspension. Obviously, we're going to be missing Bruno for this game because of the yellow card he picked up against Arsenal. So that's going to be interesting to see who slots in. I'm presuming that Joe Willock will start in midfield. He gives us a different sort of creativity to Bruno, so that'll be an interesting one. I think the team pretty much picks itself because we've got so many injuries. But the other thing is that whenever we've played a so-called weakened team, they've stepped up to the plate. Look at what happened at Man City in the Carabao Cup. Played a week. We made 10 changes to that game and we won it.
Yeah.
Against Manchester United, we make 8 changes and won. And these are guys that were playing the first and second games of the season. So I've no doubt that we'll put a good account for ourselves. It'd be nice if Wilson's fit. But I'm quietly confident that we can win one. I'd say 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're going for. Look, it's as I say, it's not one of our happy hunting grounds. So we'll have to go down there and win it.
It's going to be tough. Though the Sheffield United game looked easy. It took us a while to start surging ahead. I mean, it's 3-0 at half time, but after the first goal, it took us ages to get the second. So in the second half, they just fell apart completely, and we just absolutely put them to the sword.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be interesting to see what side we put out, for one thing. And no doubt that the guys will apply themselves correctly, and we can get a positive result.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. If you do like what you see, guys, please do smash that like. It really does help the channel. So if you can, just click that like. That'd be absolutely fantastic. And if you're new to the channel, come and smash that subscribe as well. Thank you very much. Ian says, that's not nice, Tony, lol. Sorry, Ian, I didn't mean to bring it up. Sorry, mate. Matey Max says, anyone know if Tonali's allowed to train with us? The FA having a sniff around him. I think Eddie, I'm sure he is training. He was in the stadium last weekend when we were playing, when we played our home game against Arsenal. He was in the stadium. I mean, look, we don't know what the FA are doing. I think the FA just need to leave this alone. I really do. I think what the FA need to do is say, right, look, just leave it and move on. Simple. He's been punished, but you know, the FA, they'll want to do something just to make ourselves look good. And as a lawyer has said, they are well within their rights to do that, which they can do. Let's hope they just don't bother. Montage, good evening. He says, is whole lot of Livermento going to start? That is a good question. I mean, look, I think Livermento starts. He's got to start. I'm sorry. I thought he had a great game the other night. He had a great game against Man United. He had a great game when he came in against Arsenal. And he had a great game against City. So in my eyes, Livermento has to start. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. He's been a breath of fresh air. And we know he can go on the left because we saw that the other night against Dortmund. So, yeah, I mean, I think Livermento will start. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, he played well enough.
The way I look at it is, would I... Now, I know this might not be popular opinion because, I mean, look, the guy's been immense for us. Trippier's been brilliant. But I would be trying to rest him this game because, look, his set pieces aren't great. His set pieces haven't been great lately. We know that poor free kick the other night led to their second goal, which left Livermento isolated on his own with two players. And the quality of Julian Brandt, and I have mentioned that before, Julian Brandt, you have to stop him. He is one hell of a player. I would have him at Newcastle United because I think he's a terrific player. And the thing is, there was no way of, he wasn't passing up that opportunity. But would you? But there again, I don't think Eddie will drop Trippier. I'm not saying drop him or rest him. I don't think he will. I think he'll play. I think Livermento may actually play his left back on Saturday. I've got that feeling because he can play left back. But whether he sticks Trippier there, I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I think definitely Livermento starts. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's going to start Trippier because I believe when the digital tickets for the away supporters are sent out, they've got a little message saying, bring your boots, you might get a game because we're that low on players. The injuries are terrible. So Trippier will start. I'd say Livermento as well. Then you've got Lewis Hall who can cover in midfield or at fullback.
Yeah. Gary says, we've just got the top scout on board. He's going to be scouting the 16 to 23-year-olds. He's ex-Man U and Bayern. Villa have equalised 1-1. Mighty Mag says, I can see us battering Bournemouth. Someone is due another one, and Bournemouth could be the one. Gary says, J7 centre, midfield, Longstaff and Willock sounds good to me. Yeah. Yeah, because Bruno's out. Ronald says, it's always going to be emotional for Eddie Gann due to Bournemouth, but he will want us to win, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sai on Facebook says, I'm black and white through and through, but we are 3 years in front for the Champions League, and we have built the thick in the squad a bit dangerous. Athletes at the moment with injuries and Bruno's suspension up the mags. How are the lads? I mean, look, you're absolutely right, Si. I mean, we are ahead of schedule, you know. When you think Eddie Howe's been here 2 years now and saved us from relegation, which looked impossible, but proved he can do it. Following last season, we ended up 4th, finishing the Champions League. This season, we're in the Champions League. We're in the group of death, as they call it. We might be bottom, but we are not out of it, because I think AC Milan beating PSG thickened the plot. And if we beat PSG and AC Milan, we qualify. Simple. That's it, you know. Doesn't matter what PSG do, because head-to-head, we would be beating them 2-0. So we need to go out there and beat PSG. That'll be a tough game. But even so, even if we don't finish in the top 2 of the Champions League group and we end up 3rd and in the Europa League, I haven't got a problem with that. Because we could go on and win that Europa League. There's not, you know, so look, we just have to wait and see what happens. But I said before the Champions League was drawn, before a ball was drawn, I said, even if we get in the Champions League, at least let's finish 3rd and drop into the Europa League. I'll be happy with that. And I'm still maintaining that now. If we do drop into that Europa League, that's fine by me, because we're still in Europe. Albeit we'll play Thursday night instead. But I don't really mind that. Ian Toon Trader, night, lads and lasses. Good night to you, mate. Hope you're well. Mighty Max says, I reckon we'll see Gordon up front, save Wilson for Chelsea. Yeah, who knows? I think Wilson will play. Newcastle 3-0 win. 3-0 Toon says, Si, they'll put in the Toon Mincer. Tonali's training with the Toon, yeah, he is. Do you think you'll rest Trips and play Tino and Hall? It's exactly what I said, Gary, isn't it? Yeah. BS says 4-1. Gordon, Willock, Sharon, Longstaff. BR Fagan loves bums, says Ian Toon Trader. Jesus, Ian. Did I not see the Facebook comments because I have a total ban? I don't know if I'm not sure if they show up on YouTube. They show up on my end, but I'm not sure if they actually show up on the YouTube itself. You shouldn't have a ban. You should be able to see every comment, but I'm just thinking I don't think they show up on YouTube. And I'm just having a look through the YouTube now. And I can't see his comments on there. So yeah, it must be a YouTube thing. They mustn't show it on like YouTube. Yeah. Mad Max says, exactly, we've excelled expectations. Look at the experience. Tino, Gordon, Hall and Smiley, our Raisin stars, are getting Barnes as well, but obviously injured. Yeah, absolutely. It means Smiley. Si says, night lads, great show. Thanks very much. How are the lads? Chippers loves me. Chippers loves everyone, doesn't he? 2-0 to us, says Julie. Right, I mean, look, my predictions for the weekend, I think we can go and beat Bournemouth. I think we'll be hurt. We'll be a wounded animal. Eddie Howe looked very cheesed off in that post-match conference after the game. he was not happy with our performance because he knew we could play better than what we've done. And we should have played better. Joe Linton should have put that header away. Probably Joe Linton will look at that and think 9 times out of 10 I'd probably put that on target, you know. So I think we'll go there looking to get a win and get the 3 points on the board. I'm not saying we're going to go down there and thrash them 8-0 like we did with Sheffield United, although you never know. But I definitely think Bournemouth are there for the taking. They ain't that great, let's be honest. And, you know, look, they got that win against Wolves, which, okay, fair enough. But, yeah, I think we can beat them. I really do. I don't think they're that great. But yeah, like I say, I think we'll go down there and win. And I'm going to stick my neck out. Yeah, I'm going to say 4-0 we'll win. Because I think we'll go down there and we'll take the game to them. And the only thing I will say is, and I said this last season, and what happened? The guy scored. Now then, I did say this last season as well, and I'll say the same again. You have to keep Philip Billing quiet. And some people might say, oh, Philip Billing's not that great of a player, but he's actually a very good player. He's Danish as well, but he's a very good player. I rate the guy, actually, to be fair.
West Ham
look,
just
last season, I said you need to keep him quiet. And with Philip Billing, if you don't keep him quiet, he can ping a shot in from anywhere on that, you know, outside the area. And he did that against us. And that was because we let him go and we didn't stick tight to him. That's what I'm saying. He's a very dangerous player. So, but they haven't been on fire this season, Bournemouth, at all. They've been very, very poor, as I say. Does it, you know, their manager? I don't think he's took to the, you know, he's obviously coming into a new league, isn't he? But again, we just have to wait and see. But I think we can go and beat them. I really do. And I think we'll have a point to prove to show the fans, look, we are sorry. We are sorry what we did the other day. We'll make up for this performance. We'll go out there and beat Bournemouth and tighten our grip on getting in that top 4. Because results went our way last weekend. Villa getting beat off Forest. You know, Martinez made an absolute arse of a shot. And then VAR had the cheek to check for an offside. And I thought, if you give that offside, that means you've just spared Martinez's blushes. Why? You know? And thankfully, it wasn't offside, but it was one hell of a howler from him. So results went for us last weekend. Almost was nearly the perfect weekend when Luton were winning 1-0 until Diaz scored, which, by the way, look, I know it's a different club, Liverpool, and I know we call them worse than shit and whatever, but I tell you what, really nice that to find out today that Luis Diaz's dad was released, unharmed, and safe and well. So, you know, Look, rivalry aside, this is important. If that was your parent, you would be exactly the same. I mean, how that guy even come on the pitch and played the other day, you know, and scored, you know, he must have been, don't know what's going through his mind because he doesn't know if his dad was alive or not, you know. So, so pleased for them that his dad's been released and he's alive and well and safe, and he can be reunited as well with his family. So yeah, so I'm going to say 4-0. I think we can go there and win.
I think if we didn't have so many injuries, I'd go for that as well. I just think the injuries and the sheer weight of games that we played, I think that could be the difference.
Yeah, but Roly, we've got injuries, but look what we did to Man United
Oh yeah,
with a team,
I
we put out.
still expect us to win, but not necessarily by 4 goals.
Maybe 8 then, Roly.
No
Hey,
one
you
saw
know,
that.
funny things have happened.
No one saw that coming.
Remember, we've bought into this because according to an Arsenal fan, we always get prime time TV. You know, it's like on that post where Ben Jacobs said about the panel,
Yeah.
and an Arsenal fan said, "Oh yeah, it's probably 5 Saudis on the panel. That's why."
Well, they just can't stomach that we're good.
They just can't. But I liked what the Newcastle fans shouted at the end to them: 1-0 to the Saudi boys. Even better. Ronald says, "He banned with a minute an account. Oh, Facebook must be my name, lol." Yeah, it's definitely. You're not banned or anything, Ronald. No, it's just the fact is that Facebook don't show up on YouTube, but they show up on my end because obviously when I put the comments up on screen. But yeah, because obviously using StreamYard, I tag it in with Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, so that's where it comes through. They've lost the last 4 games, Tony. Yeah, they have, absolutely. They're not very good, Bournemouth. But Quetta scored. Billings good on his day, like says Ronald. He is. I think he's a good player. I'm not being funny. I mean, look, I've seen it on a couple of Newcastle channels, and you know, even a good friend of mine, Pete Davey, who's on Loaded, even he said, as a squad player, you'd have Bill in a Newcastle squad because he's a good squad player to have around him. Absolutely. Julie says, still say he's at the wrong club. He should be the Brazilian Jody like Bruno and Joe Linton. When we got spanked off Villa, we scored 5 goals in the first 20 minutes next game. Yeah, absolutely. 2-0 says Ronald. Yeah, that was against Spurs. Remember that? Yes, when we lost 3-0 against Villa. Ronald says World Cup players got shot dead because 2 cartels had bets on them. They didn't win.
Oh,
Yes, that was the Colombian guy who scored an own goal, Andres Escobar,
Yes, yeah.
in the '94 World Cup against Romania, and because they got knocked out,
and he scored an own
when he got off the plane, they took him out at Bogota Airport. I mean, look, it's just crazy, but that's what it is. Coffee says, I predict 4-0, zippy run and score from Gordon, then Joe Linton bullet header, then another zippy run from Gordon to score, and an out-of-box volley from Willock. Boom. Do you know what, Coffee? Do you know what? You bring a smell to our faces because when you put these on, how you expect these games to go and how they're going to score the goals, it's absolutely brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Love it. In Colombia. A 2-win score doesn't matter. Absolutely. I'll take a 1-0 even. Lewis Adams says, I think with a full strength squad, we would batter Bournemouth 7 or 8-0. There's one Arsenal fan who faked going to Dortmund game and used some disgraceful words. Yes, I saw that, Coffee. Look, I'm not going to mention or repeat the words he said, but it was absolutely disgusting how that even comes into his vocabulary. You know, and to even associate Newcastle with that word is disgraceful, degrading, and it should have been removed. It should have been removed off Twitter. But again, it won't be, you know, like when we signed Isak and a Sunderland fan went on there and used a derogatory word against Isak, a racist comment. I reported it. Another guy called Georgie Toon for Life reported it. We both reported it, emailed Twitter, and Twitter said, oh, it didn't go against their community standards. Sorry, it's pure downright racism. And that's acceptable for Twitter, you know? So, yeah, I'm like I say, Coffee. I'm not mentioning what he said, but yeah, absolutely disgusting. And the, these Arsenal fans are just terrible at the moment. I just don't know what their problem is. Um, I mean, look, I've got a couple of friends on Twitter who I follow were Arsenal fans and that, and they're even saying to me, look, you know, at the end of the day, whether you agree it's a goal or not, that's what decides the game, and just have to accept it. And absolutely, you've got to accept it, you know. So, but as I say, I think since Livermento's come in, he's done very well, and he has to start on Saturday, in my opinion. Livermento has to. If I was going to pick a team for Saturday, I think this is the team we go with. Obviously, Pope in goal. The back four will be Trippier, Lascelles, Shea, and Livermento. Midfield three, obviously Bruno's banned, so it'll be Joe Linton, Willock, and Sean Longstaff. And the front three of Almiron, Callum Wilson, and Anthony Gordon. Do you not think you took Callum Wilson off at half time to say, do you know what, I'm going to keep him for Saturday? And do you think that tightness of the hamstring was just an excuse just to say that? We knew he was taking Lewis Hall off because he had got that yellow card, so he might have been prone to getting another yellow card, and that's why he took him off. But do you not think that's why he's took Callum Wilson off, to think, do you know what, I'm just going to rest him for the weekend?
You never can tell with Eddie and his press conference about him feeling tightness in his hamstring. If Eddie told me in the middle of a thunderstorm that it's raining, when it comes to his press conferences, I'd have to check to make sure, because he hides everything. But yeah, I mean, the idea was to keep Gordon at. Olympiacos had just hit the post. So we've got these injuries, but we're coping with them. We're coping better with them in the Premier League than we are in Europe. I think that Livramento starts with Dan Burn being injured. I think the midfield three is going to be Joel Linton, Longstaff, and Willock. Then it's a case of whether Wilson is injured or not.
Yeah.
If he's injured, it's Gordon, Miggy, and Wilson. If he is injured, we start to have problems. Do you play Miley in midfield so Willock can play up front? That would seem the logical, Miley or Lewis Hall.
Yeah.
That'd be the logical one. But we've got, I think our depth is a lot stronger than we think it is. Because I think that's tainted by our memories of some of these players that haven't played, your Dummets and your Richies of the club, who've hardly kicked a ball under Eddie Howe, and we still remember them as the players they were under Cabbagehead. And forget that they've improved. I mean, you look at what happened when Lascelles came in for Botman. Everyone said, oh no, it's Lascelles, it's not Botman. And he's terrible, and he's hardly put a foot wrong since he's come in. Kieran Trippier put a post on saying that everybody's togetherness and camaraderie at the club is brilliant, so that anyone that comes in pulls together. Well, this is paraphrasing. Pulls together and will try their best so that the team can win. Basic words to that effect, which I think we forget as fans, because we see these guys that haven't played for ages and thinking, why is he playing them? They're crap. But we forget that in the last sort of like 2 years, they've been training every day with Eddie Howe. And if Joe Linton can make massive improvement, why do we think that like Sir Paul Dummett can't make those improvements?
Yeah, absolutely, Roly. Just go through some comments. Ronald says, I dread when we get Placky fans like Man U. Minded I started though. Yeah, see what you mean. Trevor says, have you noticed that prick Mark moaning about the other teams getting away with things? Yeah, shit, United got away with it for years. Absolutely. Mark Goldbridge, I can't stand the bloke. I really can't. He's just a muppet. With how handsome Cher is, he's naturally a cherry popper. So, yeah, mate. If Wilson was injured, then he wouldn't be in the England squad, says Lewis. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, look, England squad. Where's Longstaff? How does Henderson get in ahead of Longstaff? I'm sorry. Henderson's not good enough. He's too old. He's past it. He's a has-been.
I think it's
why is Anthony Gordon not in that England squad?
I think it's to do with the camaraderie and the makeup of the squad. In general, they've played together for years. They know how each other plays, and he doesn't want to change that going into a tournament. You could apparently said that if I pick players on form, I'd be changing the squad every time and announce one. We all know you can't do that, but you'd have thought that one or two.
But you would have thought, Roly,
people that aren't playing that are past it. Yeah,
but you would have thought though, you've got Malta coming up. Why not just change the team about? You've got not just Malta coming up, but you've also got North Macedonia. So look, you look at that and you think, do you know what? Let's just change the squad up a bit and just bring a few players in.
Because how's he going to know how players will fit in the squad if he doesn't bring them in?
That's the thing. Ronald says Callum would love to play for obvious reasons. Yeah, Bournemouth still have Wilson on their stadium walls to do, and Richie as well. Wilson in the England squad is okay. Do you think there'll ever be a day that Tino doesn't get man of the match? Yeah, well, that's the thing, Gary. Yeah, and he's just having.
There won't be a day. The day he's not playing.
Yeah.
I must admit, I was one of those people that doubted the transfer fee. It's beginning to look like a bargain, isn't it?
I mean, I suspect in time Livermore will be in that England squad. He might even be in that England squad for next year's Euros. Who knows?
It'll be injuries for him to get into that squad. I think that the squad is pretty much set unless there are injuries.
For God's sake, Ronald, he says, what's that tutting sound of someone having a ham shank? I was hearing the sound too. I don't know what it was, and that's not from my end. And as both of them kiss the arse of Southgate. Tell you what, I'd rather have AG not going to the Euros. He needs to rest this summer. His time will come for England with time for sure. Yeah. Sorry, lads, no worries. And Ian, thank you very much for your £5 donation. He says, Longstaff should have been in the squad. Yes, he should have, Ian. Over Jordan Henderson any day of the week. He's one of the best midfielders in the country. I'm sorry, he is. And he's much better than Jordan Henderson is. Jordan Henderson is a has-been, sad, mackin' bastard. That's exactly what he is. And even when I've been to Wembley and we've played, and when they mention his name, I boo because I did get asked off a fan, oh, why are you booing an England player for? And I said, no, that's not just an England player. That's Jordan Henderson. Yeah? Well, why are you booing him? I says, because I'm a Geordie and I hate Mackhams. And I says, he's a Mackham. Oh, yeah, but it's England. You shouldn't boo them, really. And I'm like, look, I says, do you understand the Newcastle-Sunderland rivalry? Well, not really. Well, there you go then. Until you understand it, you'll know why I mean. And Ronald says, well, lads will make it to England and hopefully Donkey Heater's gone. yeah. I mean, look, he keeps saying I'll pick players on form and things like that, and he should be. But hopefully if they have any friendlies coming up, hopefully maybe Anthony Gordon, Longstaff may get a chance.
So
we need to just get rid of. I shouldn't say it. Well, you shouldn't say it really, but it's one of them. It's a shame that Henderson doesn't pull up with like a hamstring or something. At least you can say, right, okay, let's get Longstaff in. But then you shouldn't wish a player to get injured. Mikey Max, I couldn't support them back and play for England. No, absolutely not, mate. And there's Pickford as well. Absolutely, yeah. It'd be like say like a Liverpool player in the squad and an Everton player in the squad like Pickford is, and say a Liverpool fan being there, they'd probably boo Pickford when his name's read out because it's that Liverpool-Everton rivalry, you know? Be the same with Scottish team. If you've got a Scottish Rangers player and a Scottish Celtic player in the Scotland team, as soon as that player's read out, say the Rangers player, you're going to boo them, aren't you? Because it's your rivalry at the end of the day. Trevor says everyone hates Sunderland. Same as shit United. The best thing about both teams is a train out. Absolutely. Ian says I couldn't support England full stop. We know that, Ian, because we know you don't. That's why I hate the colour red, says Julie. Coffee says, but I think people keep rivalry aside for the national team. Not always, Coffee, not always. I don't. Talking about that, I'll be at Wembley next Friday, so I'll be doing vlogs from Wembley, so keep an eye out for that as well. My match ticket arrived this morning, so get the 5 o'clock train. I get the 5 o'clock train next Friday night, be in London, and then and then I'll be making my way to Wembley. So I will do some vlogs, and so do keep an eye out on that as well. Trevor says, "Watch red and white, a Sunderland fan mourning after another loss." I boo all the ones that don't play for the Toons, says Gary. I mean, look, I know you talk about players being on form. I mean, look, Harry Kane's on form at the minute, isn't he? I mean, gosh. Look at the other night when they were playing against Galatasaray, it was 0-0, and then all of a sudden 2 goals in 6 minutes from Harry Kane. This guy is just setting Bayern Munich on fire at the moment, isn't he? It's just, but that can only be good for England if he's doing it for Bayern Munich. He's coming in England on a high, full of confidence, and that's what you want from your striker, to be full of confidence. And Thomas Tuchel, I watched Thomas Tuchel's interview last week after the Dortmund game, and he said, "Look," he says, "that's why that's why I wanted Harry Kane at the club. I told the board, get him at any cost because this guy is one hell of a finisher. He's a great striker." He says, and that's why we've got him. He says, and he's helping other people in the team as well because he's bringing his game in, which other people are getting adjusted to, and it's up in their games as well. So he's doing so well at the moment, Harry Kane. I mean, he's in blistering form. And what I will say is that manager for Dortmund paid us a huge compliment as well. And he said, "Yes, I know we're beating Newcastle." He says, "But what you got to think of is," he says, "we have to find a way to stop them." He says, "Because when you watch their team," he says, their forward line can change 3 or 4 times in a game." He says the same with the back. He says they can go from being a back 4 to having a back 3. He says all over the pitch they've got it. He says, and they do like to score. He says, and when they do score, he says they're devastating. He says, and that's why we had to be very careful and make sure they didn't score. And he says we've done that. And he says And he said, and I'm not just saying that because we've gone out there and beat them. He says, but I think we've beaten a top team. And I thought, do you know what? Nicely said from him.
Absolutely.
Gary says, what do you call him? Mackham in the suit, the accused. Yes, I've heard that one before, yeah. Roly probably say that about an Everton fan. What do you call an Everton fan in the suit?
And
Full time at West Ham. Hey?
And a Mackham.
Yeah.
You've got to remember, I hate the Mackhams more than I hate Everton.
Ronald says, I laughed at Sunderland fans posting on X about Dortmund protesting against us when it was UEFA that tossed us. Well, the thing is, TNT Sports actually put out there and said, oh, they're protesting against the ownership in Newcastle, not realising it was actually against UEFA and not Newcastle United. But a lot of fans did get confused by that, and I was one of them because of the way TNT Sports come out with it. Coffee says, apart from the players out of favour, what player in our regular team would you say leaving Newcastle in the upcoming transfer window, if any? I can't see anybody going in the transfer window.
Leaving in this window, unless Manquillo goes, something like
that. Julie says, shows the IQ. Mackham's all they know is seagulls, hillbillies, and pink seats that they shit in. Yes, I always remember. Do you remember that photo from a few years ago, Roly, where there's a Sunderland fan took a shit in the stadium on his seat? Do you remember that, Roly?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, if you can, you'll have to go have a look. But yeah, there was a Sunderland fan took a shit in the stadium on his seat.
Well, it's one of the biggest open-air toilets in the world.
Yeah, I remember when Millwall went there, they ripped the seats out of Sunderland.
And made thousands of pounds worth of improvements.
Trevor says, how'd you get an empty pub? Tell them there's a Sunderland fan in there. The kid relieving himself from one of the pink seats. Yeah, absolutely. Disgusting, wasn't it? But that's the Sunderland fans for you. Dirt. Right, guys and girls, we are coming to the end of this great show. And thank you for everybody who's been watching. If you have liked what you see, please don't forget to smash that like. It really does help the channel up the search, so do smash the like. Thank you very much. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, come and smash the subscribe and be part of this great community. And also the bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows as well. So yeah, I mean, look, we've got a difference in scores. Rory's going 2-0, I'm going 4-0. Again, we don't care how we win the game. Let's win the game. Let's get the 3 points. That is the most important thing. The 3 points. That is the magic number we need. Julie says, good night all and take care. You too, Julie. Thank you very much. She has hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks very much, Julie, once again. Didn't the Sunderland fan take a poo in the fountain as well, says Coffee. Yes, he did in Trafalgar Square. Dirty bastards. Ian says, great show, Tony and Roly, as always. Cheers, Ian. Thank you very much. Yeah, they're disgusting, aren't they? Roly taking a shit in the fountain.
Yeah.
At least when we were going down there, we didn't do stuff like that.
And we cleaned up after ourselves.
Yes. Bye, Tony, Roly, and all, says Coffee. Bye-bye to you, Coffee. Burning the midnight oil. Yeah, so I mean, it's been a great show, and thank you to everybody who has been watching tonight. And we will probably have a show tomorrow, so do keep an eye out for that. But we will definitely have the pre-match on Saturday, so do come and join us for the pre-match on Saturday as well, where we bring the other team lineups from both teams and have a chat before the game and go through the Premier League scores as they have happened on that day as well. So remember, the future's bright. The future is definitely black and white, and it's bye-bye from me.
That's goodbye from me.
And how are the lads?